Okay, so we all love a little recognition, right? Like a little praise here and there feels good. But have you ever noticed how success kind of complicates things when it comes to your relationships? Some people stick with you no matter what, and then others disappear when things get rough, or maybe they even turn into critics.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a ton of material to cover in this deep dive.
Yeah.
Everything from, ancient wisdom to like modern day examples.
It's gonna be good.
I'm excited to unpack this with you.
Yeah, me too.
So let's get started with a story that's, thousands of years old but is still so relevant today.
Good.
The story of Joseph and his brothers from the Bible. So, they start out close, but when Joseph starts to gain favor and experience success, his brothers get jealous.
Oh, yeah.
And it leads to betrayal. I mean, they actually sell him into slavery.
That's rough.
Talk about sibling rivalry, right?
Yeah, it's a really powerful example of how, external validation, or maybe the lack of it, can just completely warp relationships.
Yeah.
Joseph's brothers weren't secure enough to just be happy for him,
Right.
They saw it as a threat,
Yeah.
and that perceived threat just led to a really destructive act.
Yeah, it's kind of like that saying, success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
I remember after my first book was published, all these new friends kind of popped up everywhere. And then when my second book didn't do as well,
Oh, no.
those same people just vanished.
Wow.
Faster than you could say royalties.
Oh, that's an example of what we call fair weather friends.
Right.
People who are just drawn to the glow of success.
Yeah.
But then they vanish when things get tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like the story of Job from the Bible.
Oh,
He
yeah.
loses everything, his wealth, his family, his health.
Wow.
And his so-called friends blame him for it.
Oh, that's awful. Really?
Yeah, they kick him when he's down.
That's so hard.
It is.
It really makes you wonder, how can you even tell who's truly in your corner?
That's a good question. Yeah, it takes discernment, I think. You have to build that muscle. Learning to recognize the signs of genuine support versus just superficial praise. One thing to watch out for is consistency.
Okay.
Are these people there for you, consistently?
Yeah.
In the good times and the bad? Or do they just show up when the spotlight's on you?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's about looking past just those surface level likes and compliments and seeing who's really there for you for the long haul.
Exactly.
It's interesting, this whole idea of fair weather friends. It's not just in our personal relationships.
Right.
We see it in business and politics, even on a global scale.
It's everywhere.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Think about how quickly public opinion can shift. 1 minute you're a media darling, the next minute you're facing tons of criticism.
Yeah, we see this all the time.
All the time, especially with people in the public eye.
Right? It's almost like there's this unspoken rule that success should be flawless.
Right.
And then any mistake you make,
Yeah.
you're met with judgment.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it shows that you really need to develop a strong sense of self-worth.
Okay.
One that isn't based on what other people think. Because if you're constantly looking for approval from other people, you'll always be at the mercy of what they think.
Right, and that's always changing.
Right, exactly.
So how do we build that kind of inner strength?
That's the question.
Because it's easy to say just don't depend on external validation. But I think we all crave that to some extent.
I think that's natural.
Right. We're human.
Yeah, of course, it's totally human to want to be seen and appreciated.
Right.
But I think the key is to find that validation, mostly from inside yourself.
Okay.
It's about connecting with your own values, your own definition of success, instead of trying to meet other people's expectations.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like shifting the focus inward.
Exactly.
It's like instead of chasing applause, you're finding that satisfaction from knowing you're living in line with your own values.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you should completely ignore feedback.
Right.
Constructive criticism can be valuable, but it's about developing that inner compass to help you navigate all the noise and stay on your path.
And that path often leads to some form of success.
Right.
But what happens when we reach our goals?
Yeah.
How do we handle success without falling into those same traps that we've been talking about?
I think that's where humility comes in.
Okay.
Humility is not about minimizing what you've accomplished.
Right.
It's about recognizing the role that other people played in your success.
Okay.
Like understanding that you're part of a larger ecosystem.
So it's recognizing the contributions of the people who supported you, your mentors, even the people who challenged you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that success is rarely a solo act.
Right. It takes a village.
It does.
And it's about being grateful for those opportunities and resources that were available to you.
Right, because success is usually a combination of talent, hard work, and luck.
Right. You can't discount that.
Yeah.
So humility is like remembering that you're not alone, you're part of a pack.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's about remembering that you're still human despite your accomplishment.
Right. Humility keeps you from becoming arrogant or entitled.
Right. Nobody likes a braggart.
Yeah, nobody likes a braggart.
But it's hard sometimes to stay humble when you're getting all this praise.
It is. How do you stay grounded when it's so tempting to let it go to your head?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It's not easy, but I think one of the best ways is to connect to a sense of purpose that's bigger than yourself.
Okay.
You know, ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
What impact do you want to have on the world?
So it's remembering that your work, your success, is not just about you. It's about something larger.
Exactly. When you have that strong sense of purpose, it anchors you, especially when the applause fades or when you get criticized. Think about people like Thomas Edison or Malala.
Oh, yeah.
They went through a lot.
Huge challenges.
But their commitment to their mission kept them going.
Yeah, it's like having that North Star.
It is.
That keeps guiding you.
It keeps you focused on the long game instead of getting caught up in the short-term wins or losses.
I see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
It's about that strong inner foundation, recognizing those fair weather friends, cultivating your self-worth, practicing humility, staying connected to your purpose.
It all works together.
And that's what will help you weather the inevitable storms that come with success.
Yeah, because let's be real, there will be storms.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of storms, let's talk about criticism.
Okay.
Because no matter how successful you are or how humble you are, you're going to be criticized at some point.
It's inevitable.
It's almost a rite of passage, right?
It is. It can be so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not prepared.
Right. So how do we prepare for that wave of criticism?
That's a good question.
How do we make sure it doesn't derail us?
Well, first, you have to remember that not all criticism is the same.
Yeah.
Some of it is helpful, offering good insights that can help you grow.
Right.
But some of it is just noise.
Okay.
You know, negativity, envy, or even just misunderstanding.
So it's about learning to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's about discernment.
Right.
And it starts with asking yourself some questions.
Okay.
Like, who is this person giving me this criticism? Is this someone you respect? Someone who knows you well?
Right.
Someone whose opinion matters to you?
So you're saying to take into account their credibility.
Yes.
And their motives.
Exactly. If it's someone you trust, you know, someone who has your best interests at heart,
right,
then it's probably worth considering their feedback. But if it's someone who's always negative or judgmental, then you can just ignore it.
Yeah, you don't need that negativity.
Right.
It's about recognizing that not everyone's opinion is equal.
Exactly.
I think it's also about paying attention to how the feedback is given.
Right. Tone and delivery matter.
Yeah.
Is it given with respect and empathy? Or is it angry or sarcastic?
Right.
Is it specific and actionable?
Okay.
Or vague and unhelpful?
So if someone's just throwing out insults or making generalizations,
right,
you can just let that go.
Totally.
But if they're giving specific examples and suggestions, that's probably valuable.
Exactly. And even if the criticism is valid,
right,
it doesn't mean you have to take it personally.
Okay.
Remember, feedback is about the work, not about you.
That's a helpful distinction, separating the message from the messenger.
It can be hard, though.
Oh, yeah, it's easy to get defensive.
Yeah, it's natural.
Right.
To feel a little stung when someone points out our flaws.
We're human.
But you have to try to detach from that initial reaction.
Okay.
And approach the feedback with a clear mind.
So take a deep breath.
Exactly.
Step back. Try to see the bigger picture.
And remember, criticism is an opportunity for growth.
Okay.
It's a chance to learn and improve.
Right. It's a stepping stone and not a stumbling block.
Exactly. And, you know, one way to get better at receiving criticism is to practice giving it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So by learning to give feedback, well, we can also become better at receiving it.
Exactly. Because when you're giving feedback, you have to think about how to phrase it, how to deliver the message,
right,
you know, how to make it helpful and not hurtful.
So let's talk about tips for giving constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because that's something I think a lot of people struggle with.
For sure.
We know we should give feedback, but we don't always know how to do it effectively
Right.
or compassionately.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
Mhm.
It starts with setting the right intention.
Mhm.
Are you giving this feedback because you want to help this person grow?
Right.
Or is there another reason?
Like maybe you want to feel superior.
Yeah, exactly.
Or put someone down.
If your motives aren't good, it's going to show.
Yeah, no matter how carefully you choose your words.
Exactly.
So check your ego before you offer any feedback.
Yes. And be sure to focus on the behavior, not the person.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of saying you're being lazy,
Right.
you could say, I've noticed you haven't been meeting your deadlines lately. Is there anything I can do to help?
That's much better.
Right. It's much more constructive.
Yeah, and supportive.
It is. It focuses on the issue without making it personal.
Mhm.
And it starts a conversation instead of shutting it down.
So it's about approaching criticism as a collaboration,
Yeah.
not a confrontation.
Exactly. It's about working together to find solutions
Right.
and to support each other's growth.
I really like that. It's recognizing that we're all in this together
Right.
and we can all learn from each other.
That's right. And that brings us to humility.
Right, we touched on that earlier.
We did. It's worth talking about more.
Yeah, especially in a culture that celebrates ego and self-promotion.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to get caught up in all that hype
Right.
and start believing everything you hear about yourself.
Mhm.
But true humility is not about downplaying your accomplishments.
Right.
It's about recognizing the role that other people have played
Okay.
in your success.
So it's about acknowledging that you didn't get here by yourself.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that success is usually a team effort.
Right, you had help along the way.
And it's about being grateful
Okay.
for the opportunities and resources that you had.
And remembering you're still human
Right.
despite your achievement.
Exactly. Humility keeps you from becoming arrogant or
Mhm.
entitled.
Right, and how do we cultivate that kind of humility?
That's a good question.
It's easy to say, just be humble.
It is, but how do you put it into practice?
Right, exactly.
I think one of the best ways is to practice gratitude.
You know, take time to think about what you're grateful for, the people who support you, the opportunities you have, the challenges that help you grow.
So it's about shifting your focus from what you don't have to what you do have.
Exactly. And remembering that everyone has struggles.
Yeah.
Everyone has challenges.
Mhm.
Even if they seem like they have it all together.
It's easy to compare yourself to others
It is.
and feel inadequate.
Yeah, but gratitude can help you to appreciate your own journey and be more compassionate towards others.
Okay.
Because when you're grateful for what you have,
Right.
you're less likely to be envious of what other people have.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of humility,
We have.
but success can be seductive.
It can be.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It can be easy to let it all go to your head.
It's easy to get caught up in all the attention and the status and possessions.
And sometimes that can lead us down a path that's not really in line with our values. Oh yeah, you start making choices based on ego
Right.
and ambition
Instead of what really matters.
instead of what really matters to you.
And that's why it's so important to have a strong sense of purpose.
Yeah, why are we doing what we're doing?
Right. What's our why?
Exactly. When you have a strong purpose, it guides you.
Okay.
It helps you through all the temptations and distractions that come with success.
It's like an internal compass
Yeah, I like
that
that.
keeps you on track.
Yeah, and it's important to check in with yourself regularly.
Okay.
You know, make sure that what you're doing is aligned with your values and purpose.
So you're saying practice self-awareness
Mm,
and make sure you're not getting swept away.
exactly. And surround yourself with people
Okay.
who support your values and will hold you accountable.
Yeah, it's so important to have that support system.
It is. It can make all the difference.
Especially when you're navigating success.
It's true, because success can be lonely.
It can, if you're not careful, you can end up surrounded by yes men.
Yeah.
People who only want something from you.
That's why you have to nurture authentic relationships
Okay.
with people who care about you,
Right.
not just what you can do for them.
Those are the people who will be honest with you,
Yeah.
even when it's hard.
Yeah. They'll challenge you
Mhm.
to be your best self.
Even when you're tempted to settle.
Exactly.
And they'll celebrate with you
Mhm.
authentically.
Yes. Those are the relationships that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about staying true to yourself in the midst of success. But what about when things don't go as planned?
Oh, yeah.
What about those setbacks?
That's when your resilience is really tested.
It is. Failure can be really hard.
Mhm.
It can shake your confidence.
It can shake your whole world.
Yeah, and make you question everything.
Right. And it's important to let yourself feel the pain
Okay.
Don't try to hide it or pretend it didn't happen.
So acknowledge the disappointment and the hurt.
And then you can reframe it as an opportunity.
Okay.
Learn and grow.
So ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this to get stronger?
Exactly.
And wiser?
Because every failure, no matter how much it hurts, has lessons that can help you in the future.
It's like that saying, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success.
I love that. It's so true.
Okay, so we've talked about navigating success and failure, the importance of humility, staying true to ourselves, and using our failures to grow.
Right.
Anything else we need to cover before we wrap up this part?
Yeah, one more thing.
Okay.
Just remember that success is a journey, not a destination.
What do you mean by that?
We often think that once we reach a certain goal, we'll finally feel successful. But really, it's an ongoing process.
It's about always striving. Evolving, expanding.
Exactly. And it's about finding joy in the journey itself.
Okay.
Instead of just focusing on the end goal.
So celebrate those small wins along the way. Appreciate the lesson.
Big and small.
Embrace the whole experience with all the ups and downs.
The triumphs and setbacks.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that life is complex.
It is.
It has all these different threads of joy and sorrow, success and failure.
Yeah, and it's the combination of all those things that makes our lives so rich.
It does.
And deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we covered a lot in this first part.
We did.
We talked about the challenges of success, criticism, the importance of humility in relationships, and how envy can creep in.
It is a lot.
And I think the biggest takeaway for me is the importance of building that inner strength.
I agree. That inner strength will help you through anything.
Yeah, and building that foundation starts with recognizing the patterns we talked about.
Right.
Once you recognize them, you can make better choices about who you let into your life, how you handle success, and how you respond to criticism.
It's about taking your power back.
Yeah.
And writing your own story.
Exactly. And that's something we can all do, no matter where we are on our path.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to dive even deeper into some practical strategies for building that inner strength and navigating success.
I'm ready.
Stay with us.
You know, picking up where we left off, talking about that strong inner foundation, it really ties into how you handle criticism, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, the stronger your sense of self is, the better you can handle feedback, even if it's tough.
It's like having that armor that protects you from negativity.
Exactly. But I bet it takes time to build that up.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't just happen overnight.
No, not at all.
It's a journey.
Definitely a journey of self-discovery and growth.
Right.
I think one of the first steps is just understanding the different types of criticism.
Okay.
Because it's not all the same, is it?
No, not at all.
Some is helpful and some is just mean. Yeah, so how do we learn to tell the difference?
That's where discernment comes in.
Okay.
You have to ask yourself some questions.
Like what?
Well, first, who's giving you this criticism?
Okay.
Is it someone you respect? Someone who knows you?
Okay.
Someone whose opinion you value?
So think about their credibility.
Exactly.
And their motives.
If it's someone you trust, someone who wants the best for you, then their feedback is probably worth thinking about.
Right.
But if it's someone who's just always negative, then you can probably ignore it.
It's like you were saying before, not all opinions are equal.
Exactly. And how they say it matters too.
Okay. So the tone and delivery.
Does it sound empathetic? Or respectful? Or is it angry and sarcastic?
Okay.
Is it specific and something you can act on?
Right.
Or is it just vague and not helpful?
So if it's just insults or generalizing,
you just let it go.
But if they give specific examples and suggestions,
that's the good stuff. Yeah, and remember, even if they're right, it doesn't have to be about you personally.
Okay.
It's about the work.
So separate the message from the messenger.
Exactly. Which is hard, I know.
Oh yeah, it's hard not to get defensive.
Yeah, it's normal to feel stung when someone points out your flaws.
Right, we're only human.
But try to detach from that first reaction.
Okay.
And be objective.
Okay, so take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Step back from the situation. See the bigger picture.
Exactly, and remember that criticism is a chance to grow.
Okay.
A chance to get better.
It can be a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block.
That's it.
And you said earlier that one way to get better at receiving criticism is to give it.
I did. It's true.
Really? So by giving good feedback, we can get better at taking it.
Because when you give feedback,
you
have to think carefully about what you say
Okay.
and how you say it, how to make it helpful instead of hurtful.
Yeah, so let's give some tips for giving
Yes.
constructive criticism.
Yeah, because I think that's something a lot of people could use help with.
It is. It's like we know we should do it,
Right.
but we're not always sure how to do it the right way.
It's tricky. You have to start with the right intention.
Okay.
Like, are you giving this feedback because you want to help them grow?
Right.
Or is it for another reason?
Maybe to make yourself feel superior
Could be.
or to put them down.
If your motives aren't good,
Right.
it's going to show.
No matter what you say.
Exactly. So check your ego before you say anything
Okay.
and focus on what they're doing, not who they are as a person.
Okay.
Like, instead of saying you're being lazy,
Yeah.
you could say, I've noticed you've been missing your deadlines. Can I help with anything?
That's much more constructive.
Yeah, it focuses on the problem without attacking them.
And it keeps the conversation open
It's a collaboration.
instead of a confrontation
Exactly. You're working together to find solutions.
to help each other grow.
That's the goal.
I like that we're all in this together
We are.
and we can all learn from each other.
And that brings us back to humility.
Okay.
We talked about it before.
Yeah, it's an important one.
It is,
Yeah.
especially these days, with so much focus on ego and self-promotion.
It's everywhere.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype
Right.
and believe all the good things people say about you.
Mm-hmm.
But humility isn't about pretending you're not accomplished.
Right.
It's about acknowledging everyone who helped you get there.
So don't pretend you did it alone.
Exactly. Success is a team effort.
And be grateful for the help.
Yeah, for all the opportunities and support you've had.
And stay grounded.
Remember, you're just a person.
Yeah, even with all your accomplishments.
Humility will keep you from getting arrogant.
And entitled.
Exactly.
But how do you cultivate that?
Good question.
It's one thing to say, be humble.
Right. But how do you actually do it?
Exactly.
Well, one way is to practice gratitude.
Okay.
Take time to appreciate what you're grateful for.
So the people who support you,
Yeah.
the opportunities you've had, the tough times that made you stronger,
Exactly. Focus on what you have.
instead of what you don't.
And remember that everyone has problems.
Yeah.
Everyone faces challenges.
Even if it looks like they have it all,
Exactly. It's easy to compare yourself to others.
I feel bad.
But gratitude helps you appreciate your own journey
Right.
and be more understanding of others.
Okay.
When you're grateful for what you have,
Right.
you don't envy others as much.
We talked about humility,
We did.
but, success can be really tempting.
Oh, yeah. It can go to your head.
It's easy to get caught up in the attention and the status and the
And
stuff.
then you might start making decisions
Yeah.
that aren't in line with your values.
Like you might chase ego and ambition
Exactly.
instead of what really matters to you.
And that's why having a strong sense of purpose is so important.
Like knowing your why.
Exactly. When you know your purpose,
Yeah.
it's like a guide that helps you navigate all those temptations.
And distractions that come with success.
It's like having an inner compass.
To keep you on track.
Exactly. And you should check in with yourself regularly.
Okay.
Make sure you're still aligned with your values and purpose.
So be self-aware.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not drifting off course.
And have people around you who
Yeah.
will support you and hold you accountable.
That support system is so important.
Oh, yeah. It can make all the difference.
Especially when you're successful.
Because success can be lonely.
It can.
If you're not careful, you'll be surrounded by yes men.
People who just want to use you.
You need authentic relationships.
People who actually care.
Yeah, who like you for you.
And not just for what you can give them.
Exactly. They'll tell you the truth.
Even when it's hard to hear.
I'll push you to be your best.
Even when you're tempted to give up.
And they'll celebrate your wins.
Authentically.
Yes, those are the relationships that matter.
Okay, so we talked about staying true to yourself even when you're successful. But what about when things go wrong?
Yeah, what about setbacks? That's when you really see how resilient you are.
Because failure can be so painful.
You can be,
It can really shake your confidence.
and make you question everything.
Right, and it's important to feel that pain.
Yeah, don't try to hide it or pretend it didn't happen.
So acknowledge the disappointment,
Mhm.
the hurt.
And then try to see it as a chance to learn,
Okay.
to grow.
So ask yourself, what did this teach me?
Exactly.
How can I use this to improve?
Yeah, because even the worst failures have valuable lessons.
That can help you later.
Yeah, it's like you say, failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it.
That's a good one.
It's true.
Okay, so we've talked about dealing with success and failure,
Mm-hmm.
humility, staying true to yourself, And learning from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to cover before we move on?
Yeah, just one more thing.
Okay.
Remember that success is a journey.
Okay.
It's not a destination.
I think I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's easy to think that once you reach a certain goal,
Right.
you'll be successful and happy.
Yeah, like, that's it. You made it.
But really, it's a process.
It never ends.
It doesn't, you're always striving and growing.
And you should find joy in that process.
Exactly.
Instead of just focusing on the end goal.
Celebrate the small wins.
Along the way,
Yeah,
appreciate what you learn.
no matter how small.
Embrace it all. The highs and lows.
The good and the bad.
Life is complicated.
It is.
It has all these different parts.
Joy and sorrow,
Success and failure.
and they all come together.
To make life rich and meaningful.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot in this second part.
Yeah, we talked about giving and receiving criticism.
Humility, authenticity, and learning from your failures.
And through it all,
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing is to have that inner strength and resilience.
Right, and you start by recognizing those patterns.
Yeah.
Like we talked about. Once you see them, you can make conscious choices.
About who you let into your life, how you deal with success.
And how you respond to criticism.
You're in control,
It's your story.
and we're all on this journey together.
That's right. So this has been a great conversation.
It has.
We explored the challenges of success, the importance of humility,
Yeah.
staying true to yourself, and learning from your mistakes.
And I think the big takeaway for me is that success isn't just about reaching those external goals.
Right.
It's about developing your inner strength, your resilience, and your purpose.
Okay.
It's about surrounding yourself with supportive people, celebrating other people's wins.
And remembering that true fulfillment comes from living in line with your values.
And making a positive impact on the world.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
So we hope you've gotten some good insights and tools
Yeah.
to help you on your own journey.
And remember, you're not alone.
We're all in this together.
That's right.
Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and keep shining your light.
You know, as we're talking about all this inner strength and success, it makes me think about relationships. Because we don't live in the bubble.
Right. Relationships are everything.
They really shape us.
They can make us or break us.
And when it comes to success, you need people in your corner.
Yeah, people who really support you.
So it's not just about having tons of friends.
Right. It's about the quality of those relationships.
Yeah, the people who are real,
Authentic.
who share your values.
And who stick with you no matter what.
Those are the people who will truly celebrate your wins and support you when you fail.
Exactly. And those relationships take effort.
Yeah, they don't just happen magically.
No, you have to put in the work.
Be present.
Listen. Be supportive.
Be vulnerable.
It's a two-way street.
Give and take.
And it's also about boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone deserves to be in your inner circle.
You have to be careful who you let in
Protect your energy.
and your emotional well-being.
Speaking of emotional well-being, we have to talk about envy.
Oh, yeah, the green-eyed monster.
It can be so toxic.
It can really creep in and make you feel terrible.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
That's so true, especially these days with social media.
It's everywhere.
Everyone's showing off their perfect lives.
And it's easy to compare yourself.
and feel like you're not good enough.
Right. But remember, those are just curated images.
Yeah, they don't show the whole story.
So be careful what you consume online.
Focus on what inspires you.
Not what makes you feel bad.
And remember, everyone's journey is different.
There's no one right way to be successful.
Yeah. Embrace your uniqueness.
Celebrate the fact that we're all different.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk about how we can celebrate each other
Okay.
without envy or comparison,
That's important. True friends should celebrate each other's wins.
even when they're going through tough times themselves.
Right. Because someone else's success doesn't take away from your own.
It doesn't. We can all rise together,
Support each other's growth.
celebrate each other's achievements.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
I love that. That's the kind of world I want to live in.
Me too. A world where we all support and inspire each other.
Be our best selves.
Okay, so we talked about a lot in this deep dive.
Covered a lot of ground.
We explored success, criticism, humility,
Relationships, envy.
and I think the main thing to remember is that success is not just about external achievements.
No, it's about so much more.
It's about inner strength,
Resilience,
purpose,
having good people around you,
celebrating others,
living by your values.
and making a positive impact.
That's what it's all about.
And that's a great note to end on.
It is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We hope you got something out of it.
Some insights, some tools to help you on your journey.
And remember, you're not alone.
We're all in this together.
Until next time, keep striving. keep growing, and keep shining bright.